Ridley Scott's Napoleon is out right before Thanksgiving this year. Let's talk about it. Hey there, my name is Caleb, and I love diving just a little bit deeper into our favorite TV shows and movies. If you can relate, comment down below if you've already seen Napoleon, what you think about the movie, or if you're just excited to see the movie, what you're kind of anticipating, what you think you'll like about this film. So I did go to see this movie last night, and I definitely have not quite as many things as I usually have to say, but we're still gonna talk about it. Right before we do, if you are new here, consider hitting that subscribe button, letting me know that you enjoy the kind of content that I put out here. And let's dive into it. So the premise of this movie is pretty straightforward. It's about Napoleon Bonaparte and just kind of his life as he becomes from just kind of like a young part of this government and army to then becoming like the full-on tyrant military leader. Throughout this, you get to see just the kind of person that he is. He's very jealous, he's very egotistical, and he just very much cares about his wife. And with all of these things, he's also obviously an expert strategist in military. I feel like it's important to point out that going into this film, I don't know a lot about Napoleon. Again, I know that he was with the French and I know that he was a military leader. That's pretty much all I knew, and then I knew he was just very famous for being like, people used to say he was famous for being like short or just very stubborn. Those are kind of the things I knew about Napoleon going in. My biggest negative is that I felt like at a lot of points, they were so close to going a little bit deeper into like who Napoleon is as a leader and not just like a military or his like personal relationships. I feel like they could have dived a little bit deeper into that part of him, like how he treats his people and how he treats those, you know what I mean? And it felt like at times like we were so close to seeing that. And then they just kind of like, no, we're not gonna go there. And I was like, oh, okay. Another part I really wish we could have gotten to see is a lot of times in these like war history movies, especially these newer ones, you get like lots of bits of excitement. And while those are in here, they're kind of represented by the battles and the wars that go on in this. But I felt like there should have been some kind of like big kick. You know what I mean? A lot of the drama in this kind of happens to be with his wife and a lot of those things. And it just kind of felt like a lot of the scenes were like, oh, we're just gonna keep rehashing what we established in the last scene. And like, it was fine, like I got the point, but I felt like we should have been using the runtime at like, maybe even if we were with her, to establish something different about him, to just kind of keep things fresh and entertaining, you know what I mean? First of all, cinematography in this movie, I pointed out that multiple times when I was watching this movie, I was like, wow, like these battles that they fought, like especially the one in the ice, and like you can see the snow and you see like the blood coming through the ice. It's really cool. It's a really cool looking movie, and visually it's never not entertaining. Like there's always something to look at. I did mention that although I'm not a big like history person, I do like to kind of look at these buildings. So kind of going like just what I said, there were lots of things to gawk at and like, oh wow, look at this and look how they did this. And they filmed it in a way, like a lot of these lines of military, they filmed it in like, you could see like way down the line. Like I noticed myself every time they would show like a military line forming, I would look to see how long it was. And I was like, wow, like they really, that was really cool. You can't talk about this movie without talking about Joaquin Phoenix and his excellent performance. There's no part in this movie where I feel like he didn't feel like Napoleon to me. Like there were moments, because to me, I kind of think that Joaquin Phoenix looks like Napoleon a little bit. There were moments in this movie where I was like, oh yeah, like Napoleon isn't actually Joaquin Phoenix. Do you know what I mean? But he does, obviously, being that Joaquin Phoenix is one of my favorite actors of all time, I thought he did an excellent job in this. The last thing I do want to mention is that I thought a lot of like the other leaders in this did a good job with like, Napoleon always is perceived as this very like impolite guy, and in this movie he very much puts that across, and the way that the other leaders react to it is very funny. And I love like Napoleon's pure rage when he sees something that he doesn't like. He almost acts like a child. Like he'll be like, ah, and he'll kind of just act like a child. That's something I really enjoyed seeing Joaquin Phoenix do especially. So yeah guys, those are just my general thoughts. There's not really much to say outside of that, it's a pretty straightforward film. But let me know if you guys plan on seeing Napoleon this weekend. Like I said, I was pretty excited for this. I don't know too much about history, so like, I definitely enjoyed myself. Maybe not as much as somebody who's like a really big history buff would, but I definitely enjoyed myself. And I'd love to know again, if you plan on going to see this weekend, you know, are you excited to see this? Is this something that you've been looking forward to for a long time? Again, I was excited, and it kind of just, it was right where I thought it was gonna be. So let me know in the comments what you thought about Napoleon, and until next time, guys, peace.